if you think like I do, that we're in this world to grow. The real challenge is integrating our spiritual self in our daily life. Because in our daily life it is constantly work, and it's mostly negative feedback. And so, but having a commitment to grow ourselves spiritually means that rather than getting engaged in the negative feedback part of the work or the reward, it's really important for us to open ourselves and begin to love our work, not because it necessarily deserves to be loved all the time, but rather because that's the kind of person that we are, and that's what we want to do with our lives. We want to love it. We want to experience love in it. And so, the only place we're ever really going to find love, truly, is within ourselves. And living from within ourselves, making the effort to find the love in our hearts and begin to live from it, we have to really listen to our own heart, listen to our own inner voice, which transcends all the mental and emotional dialogue, and begin to, live inspired by love. Not reacting to all the negative feedback, but responding to that creative urgency which is present in the core of our being. Urgency is not a word that I use in terms of like timing. Of course, that's relevant because there is no other time but now. But I use that word to imply the condensation of some power and its organization prior to its expression. Holding the sweetness in our days when, work is repetitive and boring, and when it's not repetitive and boring, it's full of conflict, really means that we have to begin to make contact on a regular basis with the heart of our heart, with the love in our hearts, and hold that contact so that moving through our day, we can have an experience of that deeper part of ourself and its power to change our environment. And the key thing is, rather than getting engaged in what we think we're supposed to get out of anything, we have to get engaged in service. Service is what allows us to release our own agendas and find, rather than being tangled up in our desires and our tensions, begin to find within ourselves some inspiration. And to begin to live from that inspiration, we free ourselves from any kind of ego by having an attitude of service. And we find the deeper reward, and ultimately, even a bigger material reward, just not in the small picture. In the big picture, there is more of everything for us when we have an attitude of service and we understand that life is about flow not about accumulation. We find joy in our work, whatever dimension, physical, mental, emotional, whatever. We find joy in our work by making contact with our hearts and feeling within ourselves a sweetness that we can begin to bring to our daily life or to whatever work we're doing. And then in our daily life, an attitude of service, I mean, focusing on our work, doing it the best we can do it, and having an attitude of service, you know, yes to some ideal, but equally so, yes to the people that we share the work with, even if their ideals are, you know, utterly self-serving, will create a flow within us that will lift us out of the paradox of, you know, a give and take of the world. Of course, be paid for what you do, but do what you do with an attitude of service, and do what you do as well as it can be done. And you will not stay in the same place very long. The flow in you and around you will increase and grow, and you will be uplifted and uplifted, uplifted into ever increasingly challenging and refined and creative circumstances. And in your work, God bless you all.